Salute, MobTube. How is everybody today? All right, we're finally going to get an addiction and recovery show in. I'm excited. Let's see. M. Soretti, Davis Dean, Casey Robinson, Miss Can't Be Wrong, Joseph Montanero, Harvester of Sorrow, Joe Root. Let me see who else. Danny Santos. Brian Miller, Mikhail One, Jesse Roth, Lefty Guns Pool Hall, Shark Slayer 9. If you're new, welcome. Ghetto Press Productions, how you doing? Jersey Girl 732, hello. Good to see you here as always. 30 people. It's actually not bad for a minute in on an addiction and recovery show. Not bad at all. You know how it goes. We usually get up to about 100, but it takes a while. I would love to grow it so that it's more. You know what I mean? I really would. Stone Sailor, how are you? Joseph Montanero. Oh, thank you, Joseph. Thank you very much, bro. Yeah, that was a classic show for sure. Probably one of my favorites. I'm sure you guys saw it today too, at least most of you. We had an interesting show on SoFlo today. Very interesting, but we'll talk about that another time. I will say this. There is a possibility I'm going to be getting an important phone call before 5 o'clock. If that is the case, I'm going to have to put you guys on hold because I can't miss it. It's a legal thing. So just putting you on notice. I apologize if I have to do that. Well, thank you, Miss Can't Be Wrong. You always got my back. Thank you for doing that. I know these shows are very important to you too, so. Oh, you missed it? Oh, Miss Can't Be Wrong. What a show to miss. Oh, Danny, that's a shame. It was interesting, though. You know, Lefty was there, me, Gunsmoke, SoFlo, of course, Anthony Aralata, Chicky, Common Sense. It was fun to some extent. Thank you, Miss Can't Be Wrong. Yeah, I'm hoping I get a call before 5 o'clock. But I didn't want to put the show off because, as always, I have things to do. I have to go buy a new Christmas tree. I know I'm putting up the tree late. I know. It's only 11 days till Christmas. I know. It's a damn shame, but I procrastinated this year. Been very busy, and so has Shanna. So I got to go get a new tree. Chicky did get called out. That is true. Just out of nowhere pops up Chris. Isn't that what always happens, Danny? I was letting it go for a while. I was listening to him talk, and then I was like, okay, all right, now I have to step in. You know what I'm saying? Because dude is pathological. Thank you, Ghetto Press. Believe it or not, so do I. Yes, Cellar Door. It was a wild one. It was. We had a group text going back and forth while it was all taking place. So it was interesting. So listen, guys, you know that sometimes I struggle with a topic to start out the addiction and recovery shows with. And the reason is simple. I was never involved in any 12-step program. I don't know anything about the big book, whatever that is. I don't know anything about AA. I don't know anything about most of this stuff. The only groups I ever really attended in rehab was Refuge. And I don't even know that much about that, honestly. With my memory, I forgot everything I learned in there. All I know is my story. You know, my story and what I went through. That's it. And I'm pretty good at talking to other people about their story. All right, Robert, I will. Yes, Miss Can't Be Wrong. That's what I do. So, today, what I was thinking about before the show, is, I guess you could say toxic relationships, but as they pertain to addiction, I guess you could say. There, that group text is still going. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. Maybe I'm not even using the right wording for what I mean, but there's another side to addiction. There's the people who are addicted to active addicts. And that might sound silly. I don't know if any of you have any experience with this, but I do. And I'm going to tell you guys a little story. I, in my younger years, at one point was in a fairly long-term relationship with a girl whose father was a pretty severe alcoholic most of her life. Now, that wasn't for very long because unfortunately he died when she was a young girl. But I was with this girl for quite some time, right? And during the majority of our relationship, I was a mess. Okay, I was a absolute mess. I was drinking all the time. When I wasn't drinking, I was sick as could be. I was just, I'd go through the most vicious withdrawal, like, vomiting and shakes and, sweats and just in agony. You know what I'm saying? So it was never fun, I'm sure, being with me. At least that's what I would have thought. You know what I'm saying? I can't imagine it would be fun being with anyone in that situation. I would think it would be torture. But here's the thing. This girl loved and adored me throughout our relationship. Loved and adored me. Couldn't get enough of me. Was with me every chance she got. Then something happened. I'm not going to get too detailed about this story because, like I said, it involves somebody else. But something happened and I got clean like that within a couple of weeks. Okay, I was clean. I was a mess. I had withdrawal symptoms for months after. I couldn't even, sign my name on a piece of paper. But I was clean and sober. Within about, I'm going to say a month to a month and a half of me being clean and sober, she was out. She was out. And you could tell that she had just had it. Like she just wasn't interested anymore. It wasn't that we were fighting. There was no issues in the relationship at all. It was actually, as far as I thought, it was damn near perfect. But what I didn't realize till later is that a lot of this must have had to do with the fact that I got clean and sober and I was no longer a project, I guess you could say, But I don't even think I was a project because, like I said, if you're with a lot of women are into a project men, and I don't mean men from the projects. I mean men who are all messed up and need them. You know what I mean? Need them to fix them. But the thing is, the whole point is to fix that man. That's supposed to be your goal. But a lot of women, and I'm sure this happens with men too, but in my case, women, a lot of women, once you're fixed, they're done. They want to move on to another project. You know what I'm saying? And I think this happens not just in regular relationships, because it does in everyday normal relationships. There's women, and I'm sure men, who like projects. And once they've completed their project, they're no longer satisfied. They have to move on to another project. But in my case, it was unique because I was a severe addict. I mean, guys, I was so bad that on the weekends when I couldn't get liquor and all I had was beer, I would be going through withdrawal while I'm drinking. So as I'm trying to drink beer to keep the withdrawal away, I'm throwing it up. I'm trying to drink enough beer to get myself to stop throwing up, but I can't stop throwing it up. It was a nightmare. It would be 24, 48 hours, whatever, of just constant withdrawal. And you're just drinking this shit you don't even like, pouring it down your throat, trying to make the withdrawal go away. That's what I would be like a lot. And she would lay there with me in bed. Well, every 2 minutes, I'm turning around and throwing up in a bucket. But as soon as I got clean and sober and I started to get my appearance back together, I was dressing nice again. I had money in my pocket. I was working, whatever. It was like, no. Now, here's the thing. At the time, I didn't realize that that's what it was all about until I relapsed. And I was back in that same boat where I was a goddamn mess. And guess who came calling? Yes, that is correct. Then the relationship went on for some time. It eventually ended. And the next person she wound up with was also a severe alcoholic, worse than me, actually, because I was drinking because I drank enough to get to the point where I was physically addicted, and then I couldn't stop. This guy loved drinking. It was drinking. It was everything. Loved drinking. I did it for a lot of different reasons. In the beginning, it was self-medication. Then, sometimes it was just to keep myself from being so sick because I had already become physically addicted. Sometimes it was to come down off of fucking cocaine, whatever. This guy was, mentally addicted as well as physically. I mean, he would have given up his whole family to just be able to drink. It was, as soon as he got off work, it was drinking time. You know what I mean? Drinking straight until it was time to go to bed, get 2-3 hours sleep, go to work, get off and start drinking. And on the weekends, just drinking, and cocaine. That's the next person she wound up with. And this is a person who she at one time despised and said, this guy's a fucking bum. Like, I couldn't imagine ever being with him, but boom, she wound up with him. So, now this was a beautiful girl. Let me backtrack. When I say beautiful, I mean, this is, till this day, I'll say one of the most attractive women I've ever laid eyes on in my life, in my opinion. And I think most people agree with me, especially in my city. She could have had anybody she wanted. Anybody she wanted. But she didn't want a lawyer or a doctor or just some hardworking guy who didn't come with any baggage. She wanted alcoholics. Now, once I saw that she ended up with him, I realized, wait a minute, this is not about anything other than being with a complete and total mess of a person. And I started to wonder why. And of course, what do you think the conclusion I came up with was? Her father. I can't even say that without doing the voice sometimes. Her father was a severe alcoholic, and she saw that her whole childhood. And she loved and adored him. I will say that. Loved and adored him. So, what do you think that's about? Is it daddy issues? Is it because she grew up around that environment and the first man she ever loved was in that position? So then from there on out, every man she was going to be with had to be in the same position. What do you think it's all about? I'm interested to hear your opinions. I really am. Let me see. Unhealthy self-image. Probably, definitely, daddy issues, most likely. It's all she knows. Sounds about right. Yeah, that is true. It really was. FBS, I was in a relationship like that. He was the addict. I dated him in my late teens, then again in my early 20s. I reconnected with him in 2016. We broke up in 2018 after he broke my nose. Well, that's a very good reason to break up, Jesse Roth. I'm glad you got yourself out of that situation. But yeah, there's a lot of relationships like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of you guys were in those types of relationships. Lefty Gunn said, they say women look for men like their father. I agree. That's been my experience for sure. That's been my experience. But, to backtrack, I'm going to give you an example of how, what's the word I'm looking for? How many options she had. I remember at one point I was in the hospital in bad shape. And I don't think there was a doctor. Now, I'm halfway in a coma, but she's sitting by my bedside. I don't think there was a doctor or male nurse that wasn't, straight hitting on her. I mean, just trying to talk to her and have conversations with her. My whole family's in the room. Boom. She's the one they dart for. Like, not my mom, not any of my friends. No, they go straight to her. All the male doctors. The female doctors, they went straight to my mom. You know what I'm saying? So, but it made me think in that situation afterwards. I was like, wow, like she could have any fucking buddy she wants. And there's no doubt about it. Great personality, beautiful, gorgeous, stunning, whatever. Can have anybody she wants. But you don't want anyone like that. You don't want a doctor who's got money and who's stable and has a house of his own and fucking assets and a career and is clean and sober. No, you want a project. You want a mess of a man. You want an addict. So it's puzzling to most people why that would happen. But I can tell you this. This woman is now in her 40s and has yet to be with anyone who's not, or who at least wasn't at some point a severe alcoholic. And I don't even think she has any interest in being with anyone who isn't. And she's not the only one. That's just one example. I've come across women like this many times. Men as well, by the way. Men as well. I know some men that they just want a straight trash. They want a fucking some pig hooker that they always have to worry about and who's always out at the club, and for some reason that gets them off or something. I don't know. I guess you can call them cucks, but they like the instability of having a trash for a woman. So I don't know, but when you're so fucked up that you have to look at your girlfriend or wife or whatever and say, you're a fucking loser for being with me. Like, what the fuck were you thinking? You could be living in a fucking mansion somewhere. You don't even have to work. The man will take care of you, bring home the money. You know what I mean? You have any car you want, any house you want. But no, you want to be in this situation. Is that a disease of its own? Is that a fucking another part of addiction, like that certain people suffer? Because I do know this. There's no doubt that toxic relationships are addicting to some people. I am not one of those people. I'll give you an example. I will not even fight with Shanna, for example. Okay, that's my wife now, but I became like that a long time ago. I'd say probably my last long-term relationship. I was with a girl about 3.5 years, and she loved to fight. She was addicted to the drama. It was like heroin to her. She had to have her fix every day. Did we fight? And then she would start a fight just to fight, and then in the snap of a finger, act like everything's okay, like it never happened. Like everything you just said and did, I'm just supposed to forget that because now you're ready to be friends again. You know what I'm saying? But I don't like that shit. So you know what I would do? When she would start yelling and screaming, I'd leave. I said, I'm not even going to yell back at you. I'm leaving. I don't do that. I grew up in a house filled with yelling and screaming. Okay? And trust me, I'm never going to live like that again. I'm never going to live like that again. So that's just the way I am. Now me and Shannon don't fight very much, but I won't fight with her. And Shannon doesn't like to fight either. Don't get me wrong. But if it came down to some type of an argument, listen, I'll fight with people on here all fucking day, but I won't fight with the person I live with. That's just the way I am. And that's misery. That just breeds misery. That's a bad situation. There's negative energy in the air, and it's just fucking unlivable as far as I'm concerned. So I'm not a toxic relationship type of person, but I've been in a toxic relationship or two. Mainly that one I just spoke of. That was pretty bad. But there was a lot of reasons I was in that relationship, and none of them were the right reasons. You know what I'm saying? None of them. Sometimes it's a rebound thing. It's like you're trying to keep your mind off somebody else by being with this person. The feelings that they have for you aren't necessarily reciprocated. You know what I'm saying? But the other type, I think, of toxic relationship is between two addicts. You know what I'm saying? Two addicts that keep each other going. I've seen situations like that too, especially when it comes to opiates. I've seen a lot of couples who are badly addicted to opiates. And I almost think that they stay together simply because that fight every day, that battle, that challenge to keep yourself from being sick, to just getting as many pills or enough dope as whatever, or I'm sorry, or whatever it is you need to keep yourself well, as they say, is easier with a partner. You could pool your resources. It's two heads instead of one. You know what I mean? So I've seen people that stay together for that reason too. I mean, I had a girl. I'll give you an example. I was dealing with a guy named Mike and his wife Rachel. Rachel was a very attractive woman, very attractive woman. But they were very bad with opioids. I mean, they were. I think I told this story before. To start off the day, each one of them needed 280s. 280s. And at that time, I don't know what it is now, but at that time, it was $1 a milligram on the street. You're talking about $320 just to start off the day. And then, of course, later in the day, they would need more. They lost everything, their house, their cars, you fucking name it, everything. He went from being a successful businessman to basically working in a fucking restaurant as a waiter. She went from being, she actually had her CDL. She drove a school bus, and she, I forget what she did on the side, some type of office work, but they made a great living together when they were healthy, and they lost it all. They lost it all. She lost both of her jobs. And he went from being a professional to being a waiter. You know what I'm saying? And but they would hustle up anything they could. Like, he grew weed, he grew some fire. You know what I mean? So every now and then he would call me for coke because, according to him, when he couldn't get his pills and he was sick, the coke would take the edge off a little bit. I don't know if that's true, but that's what he said. But he never had money, you know what I mean? So every now and then, if it was some real heat, if he had some real gas, you know what I mean? I would fucking trade him some weed for some coke, and I would just sell the weed to, you know, my connect, something like that, whatever. It was no big deal. I felt bad for them, you know, but she was supposed to be, at one point, she got a job cleaning offices at night, overnight. Okay. And it turned out what she was doing while he was at home, trying to figure out a way to keep himself well, she was out doing whatever she had to keep herself well. She would go to the office she's supposed to clean, clock in or whatever it is she does, you know, finish her work real quick, take pictures, and bounce until she had to go to the next job. But she would cut things short, do shoddy work, whatever it took. So she had some time to herself without her husband knowing that she wasn't exactly where she was supposed to be at the time she was supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? And one night, she shows up at my house. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I was without a doubt the type of guy that would have taken advantage of that situation. Like I said, she was a very attractive woman. I would have been like, you know what Mike don't know won't hurt him. Like, but this night, I was disgusted by her because she showed up looking terrible, sick as a dog. And basically, she was trying to trade me for some coke or to get her some pills. You know what I mean by trade. I turned her down flat and made her leave. I never told Mike. But I think eventually they had gotten in a fight or something. I heard that they had gotten in a fight, and she told her all the scandalous shit she was doing. And that was one of the things that she had showed up to my house and tried to, you know, make a trade. I don't know. After that night, I never spoke to her or Mike again. And I did that deliberately. I saw how bad they were, and I just blocked both of them from my phone. And that was it. But that was a toxic relationship where I think they just needed each other. Because if she couldn't come up with a way to get some pills, he could. or maybe each of them could get some money and put it together, do what they could. She would fucking dress like a straight, I mean, she would have the fucking knee-high boots and mini skirt and, fucking halter top and they would go to where they knew people had pills and, she would charm the shit out of them, even with him right there. And she would help get them stuff. You know what I mean? Because men are suckers, even men with pills. Okay. Men are suckers for a beautiful woman. But that's another toxic relationship I know of. And that one is specifically, between two addicts. So I just thought I'd share those stories. Now I'll see what you guys have to say. Sorry, guys, just checking something out. A toxic relationship is the worst kind. Misery. Yes. That song, Love the Way You Lie by Eminem and Rihanna, is a very controversial song for a lot of reasons. But it's a pretty good description of how bad they get. Well, because, I'll be honest with you. I think it's fair to say most of my relationships were pretty toxic, come to think of it. I just didn't realize it until later. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of relationships are. But yeah, miserable. Miserable. Whether it's just one person that contributes to the misery or both. But honestly, if you stick around for a toxic relationship, then you're just as guilty as the person that's addicted to the drama and that causes the majority of the trouble. But you don't realize that when you're in it. Toxic, as in this woman is impossible to work things out with like a mature adult without resorting to childish name calling and yelling. Yeah, it could be. I think a toxic relationship could be even a relationship where like I know of some cases where the woman would love to make the man fucking insane. Like she would try to drive him up a wall. She would do things like go out and flirt with guys and get phone numbers and then make sure he found out about it. She wouldn't go as far as to cheat, but she'd go right up to the line without crossing it. You know what I mean? It would make him fucking nuts. And she did it because in her mind, that was the way. And she actually told me this once in this one situation. This girl told me that she did it because she wanted to keep her boyfriend interested. In other words, her theory was as long as she makes him jealous all the time, he'll never forget what a good thing he has. Like by going out and showing him, oh, I can get phone numbers. There's always guys hitting on me. And she would do that to him. And she drove him up a wall because this poor bastard is working all different shifts. You know what I mean? And she's out at the fucking club. He's the breadwinner. They live together, whatever. And every fucking minute of his life, he's wondering who his girlfriend is out fucking or trying to fuck. He didn't know, that she was not actually cheating. But in a way, her method of hanging on to him worked because he stuck around because he was so impressed with the fact that his fucking girlfriend could get anybody she wants. You know what I mean? It was very bizarre. And we would talk to him and tell him, bro, she's going to get you killed one day, bro. She's a troublemaker. You know what I'm saying? Kind of like Gene right now. Gene's situation. That girl, in my opinion, is a fucking troublemaker who eventually is going to get Gene Borello arrested and locked up or killed. It's my opinion. I've known many of them. You know what I mean? I've known many of them. You got to be very, very careful. Very careful. And you don't want to be in that situation under any circumstances. You don't want to be. It's pure misery. An addict and a dealer together is probably the most twisted relationship I've ever seen. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, my God. Yeah. Bro, I know a guy, dude was a big DJ and shit. He was also a big crack dealer. And his girl was a crackhead. And we found out at one point, while she was pregnant, she was begging him for crack. And to shut her up, he gave it to her. That was pretty much the end of our friendship with him. But she was a crackhead. He didn't smoke crack. He did a little powder here and there, but mainly he just drank, smoked some weed. And she was constantly, torturing him for crack. I mean, I don't even know how it worked or why they stayed together, but for some reason they both found something in that relationship. Fucking bizarre. I took an 80 once and was in bed for 3 days. I couldn't even imagine. Fuck that. When I was addicted to the pills, I was highly functional too. I would work every day and you couldn't tell I was high. Well, that's the thing. That's what makes any kind of pill addiction very dangerous. There's no other drug like it except for maybe powder cocaine as far as hiding it. Because I'll be honest, I did powder for years, 24 hours a day. And if you didn't know me and know that I had that addiction, you wouldn't know. Because cocaine is, once you're that addicted, it's not like it is in the beginning. You're not all hyper. You're not, you don't have camel jaw. You're not, necessarily sniffing all the time or wiping your nose. And, you just be careful. So you can hide powder cocaine addiction. Not as easy as pills, though. Pills. It's the easiest drug to be addicted to. And hide it from everybody. And be functional as well. Because, first of all, if you want to talk about like opioids, okay, like Oxy and shit like that, at first they might fuck you up. But once you're used to them, they're doing nothing more than keeping you from getting sick. So nobody's going to see any difference in you when you're on them. They might see a difference in you when you're not. But the main thing about it is you put a pill in your mouth and it's all gone. There's no smell. You're not acting all erratic or anything. You know what I mean? You can go anywhere, go in a break room, go anywhere and just pop a pill and boom. It's benzos, opioids, anything. That's what makes pill addiction so scary. I had a friend who told me that once. He said, I'm 3 years deep into this simply because nobody knows I have a problem yet. And it made sense because how do you tell if somebody has a pill addiction? Unless you're catching them dope sick or something like that, going through withdrawal. Unless you find the pills or something, how would you know? If they don't tell you. I am a recovering alcoholic and addict. I also have bipolar. Yeah, dual diagnosis. It's so funny, Brian Miller, because when I was 18, they diagnosed me. Well, back then it was manic depressive. Okay, and then, bipolar after that. But for, I don't know, 25 years now or so, I've been going to doctors. And every single one of them says, you're absolutely not bipolar. I don't know why they diagnosed you as that. Even in jail, the psychiatrists were like, you're not bipolar. I could tell. I've seen you enough. But the thing is, once I was diagnosed with that, it fucked me up forever. Because one time when I tried to get into rehab through crisis intervention, they accessed my medical records. They had a bed all set up for me. I was desperate one day. It's in like 2012, desperate. I had been up for 2 days. I ran out of alcohol. I still had Coke, but the Coke just makes you crazier without alcohol. And I was in so much pain from alcohol withdrawal that I fucking called crisis intervention. And I said, I need to get into a facility today. Within 2 hours, they set me up with a bed in a place in, I think it was White Deer Run it was supposed to be. A lot of people on here might have heard of White Deer Run. So it's like 40 minutes for me, I think, something like that. So they said, we're going to pick you up and everything. We're sending a van to pick you up. They call me back like an hour later. We can't put you there. Why? You have bipolar on your medical records. Therefore, you need a dual diagnosis facility. And guess what? They didn't get me a bed that day. And guess what else? After that day, I didn't want a bed anymore. And years more of addiction just because they felt I couldn't go to a regular rehab. I had to go to a dual diagnosis, and they couldn't find a bed in one. Unbelievable. Follows you around like a criminal record. The Harvester of Sorrow, I'll be honest with you. I've probably smoked weed 7 or 8 times my whole life. I fucking hate it. I don't understand till this day why anybody likes smoking weed. I don't get it. The cottonmouth to me is misery by itself. Okay, then already be, always being hungry. Listen, this is my thing. I always say I'm already fat, tired, hungry, and paranoid. I don't need weed. You know what I mean? Because that's all it ever did for me. It gave me the munchies. It knocked the shit out of me, and it made me fucking paranoid. I hated weed. I would get talked into it. I would take a few hits and I would fucking, it felt like a rubber band was wrapped around my head and I couldn't make it go away. It lasted so long every time. I have no desire to smoke weed ever. I don't get that addiction. I don't get it. It smells like shit. It makes you smell like shit. I mean, I don't understand it. I'm telling you, it's weird to me. But I think it affects different people different ways. Maybe if I felt the same type of high Stone Sailor does, maybe I would have liked it. But the type of high I felt, it would give me panic attacks. It was fucking terrible. Cocaine didn't give me panic attacks. Weed would. I fucking hated it. My bad, guys. If I did too much coke some nights, I would pop 10 milligram of hydrocodone to bring me down. Yeah, I've heard of people doing shit like that. Lester Jean, 25 months yesterday. Congratulations, bro. That's good, man. That's great. I'm happy for you. I will have 42 months on the 21st. I'm looking forward to it. Casey Robinson, FBS mentioned he didn't turn to the good book. I too never did that. Yeah, I don't. Not for me. Two drugs I'm glad I never liked, meth and heroin. I never tried heroin. I tried meth twice and it sent me to the ER once. I'm glad my body could handle it. Yeah, well, I tell you what. Meth, I was never around. Heroin, I wasn't much either. In my younger years, heroin wasn't like it is now. You know what I mean? It was a very taboo thing to do. Very taboo. And me and my friends, we all wanted to be big bad drug dealers. We didn't want to do anything that we thought made us look bad. And crack and heroin always had that stigma around it. People look at crack addicts and heroin addicts as dirty and junkies and losers. But cocaine, especially when I was a kid, and still I think is like glamorous. That's the way people look at it. It's the rich people's drug. Hollywood celebrities put the shit in their coffee in the fucking morning. You know what I mean? Especially in the 80s and 90s. It's every fucking where. And listen, I'll tell you this, in my 20s and shit, cocaine was like weed. It was every fucking where, everywhere. I told you I would DJ gigs. I would say, okay, I'm not doing any coke tonight, but I'd be on the radio that night. And I'd be working with one of the DJs from the radio station. And the fucking radio DJ would come in, lock the DJ booth door, and pour some lines out. And I'm like, oh, God, here we fucking go again. It was so acceptable and almost glamorized. Cocaine was the shit. That's how people acted. But crack and heroin was a big no-no. So we never fucked around with crack and heroin. We just didn't want no part of it. I sold crack for a long time. Sometimes I only sold crack, but for the most part, I sold both powder and crack. And I would do powder all fucking day, but I had no desire to fuck with that crack shit. Even once the cocaine wasn't affecting me anymore, nah, bro. From selling it, you never want to do it. That's why a lot of crack dealers never tried crack. I'll tell you why. Because you see what it does to people. You got people desperate, knocking on your door at 3 a.m, trying to trade you their kids' PlayStation and fucking Nintendo 64 and shit. Back then, of course. Trying to sell you their fucking things they inherited, heirlooms, like literally begging you in tears to give them a piece. It's like, holy fuck, man. I never want to be like that. And you're not, for the most part, with powder cocaine. You're not. I mean, I've yet to really see somebody who's fiending for powder. Like, come on, man, I just need another line, man. I did have one guy that used to break my balls, another DJ, break my balls constantly. He'd hit me up at like 2:30 because he knew I just got done DJing. He'd be like, yo, man, I need a wake up. Be like, yeah, so you got some money? Nah, just a little wake up, bro, a couple bumps. All right, yeah, hit me up when you have some money, bro. What the fuck is this? No, I mean, what do you think? I give out samples, bro? No, you know my coke. Go get some fucking money, bro. Thank you, Alex. I try to be. Oh, Joseph Montanaro. You ain't kidding, bro. Very common in Italian homes, bro. Yeah. I won't get too deep into it, but I think it's fair to say most Italians are very neurotic. They're very dramatic. And I'm saying this as an Italian who was raised by nothing but Italians. Very neurotic, very dramatic. They're almost addicted to stress. I had family members who, if there wasn't a problem that day, they would create one. You know, I know somebody till this day who I've always said, God forbid you ever win the lottery because you'll die. You'll die because you won't have any problems anymore. And you thrive off of problems. That's what keeps you going. It's your lifeblood. It's your heroin. You know what I'm saying? And this is an Italian woman, an old Italian woman. Okay. It's bad, man. It's bad. My dad was 100% Sicilian. And that was my dad, man. He was that's why I say 29th Street. That movie, Danny Aiello in that movie. The way he behaved, the way he talked to his kids, that was my dad, man. The only difference is my dad looked like Vincent Pastore and not like Danny Aiello. Looked just like Vincent Pastore. Darker, but he, man, if there wasn't a problem in the house, he would create one. If there was no stress, no fighting, no arguing and screaming, he would make sure that there was gonna be soon. And it was miserable. You know, I'd hide in my closet as a kid with my hands over my ears because I couldn't stand hearing the fucking screaming anymore. You know what I mean? And then, you know, punching holes through walls, breaking furniture, you fucking name it. It was not fun. So, yeah, it's fairly common, to say the least, in Italian homes. And New Yorkers, too. New Yorkers, when you're a New Yorker, it adds that little bit of neuroses. You know what I mean? You're extra neurotic, extra dramatic. This is true. I don't care what anybody says. You can't tell me because my entire fucking family is Italian and they're all from New York, okay? Queens and Brooklyn. Every one of them. And every one of them is like that. It's the truth. It's very true. That's why I honestly believe the best actors of all time are Italians because we're so fucking dramatic. The best actors of all times, Joe Pesci, Robert De Niro, Al Pacino, even younger ones, Leonardo DiCaprio, people like that. Best actors of all time. Notice they all happen to be Italian. You know what I'm saying? Because I think Italians are naturally dramatic. I honestly do. Stone Sailor FBS, do you still have her number? Nah, Stone Sailor, sorry, bro, I don't. I'm assuming you're talking about Rachel. No, no, I do not. Oh, Lefty, what, the fat, tired, hungry, and paranoid thing? Listen, it's true, man. That's what I always said since I was young. It's like I'm already fat, tired, hungry, and paranoid. I don't need weed. You know what I mean? Weed just compounds all that shit. I don't need to be fatter, more tired, more hungry, or more paranoid. No, thank you. And I don't want to smell like weed and have cotton mouth. I hate that. I'm the, all over the fucking place. How is this enjoyable? I used to say, what the fuck? Why? Why do people do this? James Jameson, I'm 100% English. I can trace both sets of family all the way back to the old country. Nice. A lot of people can't do that. Their lineage gets a little confusing or something. The way Italian Americans talk is so cool. Some of them. The way I talk isn't cool. When I was a kid, though, I had a New York accent. That was cool. Joseph Montanaro. 100% FBS. My father would break balls on Christmas Day. He never took a day off of spreading misery. Nah, man. Nope. Now, I'm the kind of person, man, that don't get me wrong. I can be bad too sometimes. Like, I'll give you an example. What's a problem with me? And Shannon knows this, and Shannon will just avoid me. Like, say my day gets off to a bad start, it's almost guaranteed it'll stay bad. I get stuck. I'm mentally fucked up. So if I decide I'm in a bad fucking mood, you ain't gonna snap me out of it. So I tell everybody, your best bet is to just leave me alone, because I don't want to be a dick to you. I don't want to mistreat you or talk down to you. Just leave me alone. So the people around me know that. If you see me in a certain type of mood, you know, um, but for the most part, I could find the good in things, even things that aren't good sometimes. You know what I mean? And I'm very grateful for the positives. There's shit I get pissed off around the house about sometimes. You know what I mean? Last night, I came home to put the fucking Christmas tree. I was looking forward to it all day. And I was out last night after the show. I went back out. I did some Christmas shopping. I didn't get home until 10 o'clock. I was like, all right, I'm going to put the Christmas tree together. One of the fucking pieces is missing for the platform of the tree, the stand, whatever. I only had 3. I needed 4. Couldn't put the tree up. Pissed me off. It was like everything good that happened in the day was erased. But then I cleaned up, after putting the tree back to, back in the box and all that. I was like, you know what? Fuck it. At least I don't have to put a tree up tonight. Now I can just lay here and watch TV. But, there's some days where I get in a pissy mood. You can't snap me out of it. And I do see, I see a lot of my dad in myself. The older I get, the more I see it. Mannerisms, ways of speaking. Like, I was telling Howie Santos, Handsome Jack, he texted me after yesterday's show because he didn't catch it live. And he said, bro, that show was amazing. If I ever need a lawyer, I'm hiring you. Right? What was my point? I just forgot. What the fuck was my point? Yeah, I told you. Mentally fucked up. I don't remember now. There was something he said on the phone. Son of a bitch. I just completely lost my train of thought. Who, William Brooklyn? Who's that? Hold on, guys. I got to remind myself what the fuck I was talking about. Give me a second. That's what it was. Okay. All right. Ghetto Press Productions, Marlboro Menthol. That was my point. So Howie called me and, he made, I called him after he texted me. And we were talking about the show. And he was talking about how I'm very good at just, because he was like, damn, bro, you didn't even write that down. He's talking about my whole response to the Victoria lawyer letter. And I said, nah, bro. And he was like, I don't know how you do that. You were just like rattling it off, like right off the top of your head. I said, bro, listen, that's my dad in me. If you think I'm a talker, oh, you should meet Nunzio. Madone, this guy talk you into the ground. That's why he was an extremely successful salesman his whole life. He could sell ice to a fucking igloo. You know what I mean? He could sell fire in hell, as Jay-Z would say. Water to a fucking whale. An amazing salesman, an amazing talker. But if he was mad at you and he wanted to make you feel this big, you're fucked. And who does that remind you of? It's me. I got the same skill, I guess you could say. Go for better or worse. I am highly skilled at talking someone into the ground and making them feel this big if I want to. That's why I tell people who I love, if I'm in a fucking mood, leave me alone. Because I'll go off on a rant. I'll start bringing shit up from months ago. I'll fucking, you know what I mean? And by the time I'm done, you'll be in tears. I don't want that. Okay, I don't want that. So just please avoid me. But I don't have the same temper. My dad had a pretty bad fucking temper. I did as a young man. Oh my God. I pushed a friend down a flight of stairs once. I fucking, I went nuts. I told you, I hit my brother with a baseball bat in the fucking head. I almost killed him. I was so fucking violent, and it was like on the spot. Like I would, like a light switch, I would snap. And even if it wasn't physical violence, it was a verbal assault. You know what I mean? I would just go off and tear people to fucking shreds. I've learned to control myself in my older years. You know what I mean? But you add some alcohol and cocaine to that. Oh my God. Oh my God. It gets bad. It gets bad. I told you, man. This club, this VFW that I used to hang out at. I'm sorry. It was a VPA, my Veterans Political Association, my bad, that I used to hang out at. The owners, they were bookies, you know what I mean? But they were good guys, and they loved me. They would tip us off when the cops were coming. They would know if we're on probation and they got a call that the York City police are about to show up with 2 POs, because that's what they would do. They'd show up to the bars all around York City with a bunch of probation officers, and the POs would go looking for their people. And if they saw any, they'd arrest them on the spot. So these guys would tip us off, probation's on the way with the York City police, whatever. But they told me one time, they were like, because they loved me, you know what I mean? They were like, Chris, you're a really good dude. Like, you really are. Deep down inside, you're a good man. I've seen it from you. But when you get your poisons in you, you're a monster. I said, I know. They saw me do so much violent shit in that club. Oh my God. But they never, listen, they would kick you out quick. But if you were a long-time member like me, and listen, there was only one other guy who spent as much money in there as me, and his name was Marty. He was a major fucking drug dealer in York City. Major, bro. This guy would go to the feds since the 80s. He would go to the feds. I heard stories about him my whole life, before I met him. He would fucking go to the feds for 10 years, get out, start right back up, and he'd be pushing bricks again. You know what I mean? And when I first moved here, well, not when I first, I'd say a year after I moved here, he had owned a barber shop in York City. He always owned a barber shop. You know what I mean? You could look him up, Marty the Barber, right? And this dude, he was big time. You know what I mean? He was making serious fucking money, and me and him spent a fortune in there. Spent a fucking fortune in there. We would fucking play those pull tab tickets all night, buy people food, drinks, every fucking thing. You know what I mean? So they would kick a lot of people out, but not us. We could do whatever the fuck we want. And there was a few other people too who could do whatever they wanted, and they wouldn't kick them out. You know what I mean? So it was interesting. Let's see. My dad was Jewish. My mom, Italian Catholic. My childhood went from my cousin Vinny to Fiddler on the Roof. It was really crazy. Jewish and Italian. That's fucking tough, man. You want to talk about dramatic? Yeah, that's fucking brutal. And neurotic. Same. My old man passed the evil power to me as well. Though it takes a lot for me to unleash it now that I'm 44, but at 24, a different story. Yeah, man. Same with me, man. I learned, probably I'd say my early 30s to fucking relax and calm down and stop mistreating people and shit, because that was fucking brutal, man. Me too. FBS, it's a well-known story in my family that I tried to kill my brother with a bat when I was 4 years old. Oh, 4? God, I was 17. Holy shit. I hope I never rubbed you the wrong way. Nah, never you, Mikhail. Late coming, owing to slow driving, but great comments on a great show by everyone involved. Thank you, Don Berlin. Thank you very much. Does anybody, yeah, it is literally Ishmael's gray area. Half Irish, half German. That's another one. Yeah. I'm going to drop the link if anybody wants to join and tell their story. Let's see. I just realized I didn't even finish a part of the story I was getting at with that guy, the Marty dude. He owned a barbershop. I first learned about him about a year after I moved here, and he owned a barbershop. And it was just a front. You know what I mean? It was just a front. When they raided his barbershop, they caught him with oh my god, they caught him with I think it was like 6 bricks of cocaine and a brick of heroin or something, some shit like that. Yeah, he went away for quite some time. You know what I mean? And then when he got back out, I was much older, of course, and he started up again. You know what I mean? And I that's when I met him. But I had heard stories about him for years before that. For years, you know, he was a legend and still is, but I don't think he does anything wrong anymore at all. You know what I mean? He was big time. I remember he got busted in like 2007, I think, again in his barbershop, which is around the time I was dealing with him. And in there, he had, I think, just a brick. He had a brick, but he had like 69,000 in cash and a bunch of, property, I guess you could say, merchandise, whatever that he had bought with, as they said, allegedly drug money. And it was a big story in the paper and shit. But while he was on bail, right? Now, he was in pretty big trouble. He had a serious record, a very extensive criminal record. He just got caught with a brick. The guy was in his 50s at this point. He goes to the casino, and there's a casino in Grantville called Hollywood. It's like 50 minutes maybe for me, 50 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic. And he meets somebody, a woman. And I guess he had a brick in a duffel bag that he brought into the casino with him. And he fucking sat down at a slot and she sat down and he, she grabbed the bag, whatever. She was setting him up. The point is, I don't know how they, exchanged the money or whatever. All I know is he had the brick with him. And they got him while he was on bail with the brick at the casino. You know what I mean? So this, not easily deterred. Not at all. Alex, 1999. Thank you very much, Alex, my man. Thank you for the show today. Many people needed this. I think I did too, Alex. Thank you. I think I did too. But I'm glad I was able to do this for people. Thank you, Miss Can't Be Wrong. As usual, nobody's grabbing the link. That's all right. Not a problem. I don't have a shitload of time today anyway. So I'll just keep talking for a little and then I'll bounce. Thank you, Ghetto Press Productions. Well, Miss Can't Be Wrong. I guess that's what sets me apart from different people, and it is to my detriment. I shouldn't do it, I guess, but like I said, I always said if I do a YouTube channel like this, I'm gonna, to some extent, spill my guts. You know what I'm saying? So I talk a lot about myself, then it's used against me. Then I don't learn my lesson and I do it again. But in the context of an addiction and recovery show, if it's helping people, I don't give a fuck. If my story helps you, makes you feel like you're not alone, you could relate to some of the things, we had mutual experiences, things like that, types of experiences, whatever, then it's worth doing. I don't care. Will I be doing a late show tonight? I don't know. I'm still struggling with where to go from here. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I did hear a rumor before this show that Angel made some comment like my channel's going to be taken down or I'm going to be off of YouTube within 2 weeks. If anybody heard that, I would like to know because that's something, I need to know if that was said. But like I said, I really don't want to do any shows about anyone else. I'd like my next show to be a true crime show. So I got to put some thought into it, maybe upload some pictures. So I don't know if I'll be doing anything tonight. But I think Gunsmoke is coming on. If I don't go on, I think he's going to come on around 10. If I do come on, he's going to come on a little later than that, after me. That's right, Miss Can't Be Wrong. Absolutely. That's why they make things up now. They just make things. You hear Chicky earlier? What are you going to do when they find out about? What are you going to do when the paperwork is released about you getting 7 black guys in New York City put away? Yeah, oh, that's a new one. You just freestyled that right off the top of your head. That shit was like, it wasn't here a minute ago, and now it's here. You just made that entire fucking story up on the spot, and then you bounced off SoFlo's show before I could respond. Now, listen. The rumors and bullshit they've made up to this point is just the beginning. They'll never stop with that shit. But it don't matter because they have yet to prove anything. Every time they make up, we have paperwork on this. We have we have pictures of this. We have a video of that. I dare them to drop it. They never do. Isn't that amazing? Thank you, Ghetto Press Productions. I hope so, bro. Yeah, they never would, William Brooklyn. That's the difference. They could say whatever they want about me, but I do positive things. I try my best. They don't do shit positive. None of them. Not a single thing. Lee Cole, Angel, none of them. So I don't know. I don't know how they fail to mention that at all times. You know what I mean? And they just ignore it like that's not happening. Or they'll make something up like, oh, he don't care about addiction or recovery. He's just doing that for donations. Even though I specifically say on a lot of these shows, you guys, you don't have to donate on these shows. I'm not doing these shows for donations. I'm not. I know better. What? I got 84 fucking people. You know what I mean? I'm what's the word? I'm giving up the opportunity. Like today, I could have done a show at 4:30 where I just trashed a bunch of people. I would have made a lot of money. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sacrificing that in order to do something good. I'm trying to do. I don't care if I don't make any money. Besides, yesterday, guys, you all took care of me so fucking well. I have no complaints. You know, I made $1,500 on yesterday's show. And then after the show, a guy named Scott, who I guess is a longtime viewer but doesn't come into the chats, sent me another 100 in cash. So I got no complaints. Even if it's used against you, it can be held against you. I'm not sure exactly what you mean. Oh, it can't be held against you. Oh, I got you. You're going to be joining me and Ant tonight, Chris? They're going on at 6:30. Lefty, by the way, everyone, 6:30, right, Lefty? Lefty's going to be doing a good show. He's going to be showing a very highly anticipated Chicky video. You guys are going to want to see this. So go to Lefty's show tonight at 6:30, okay? And yeah, Lefty, let me just go out and do some things. I know you're going to be on for a while, bro. I will join. I promise you at some point. I might not be able to join long because Shanna's off today, but I have to go out and get a fucking Christmas tree and shit. And when I get home, I will hop on for as long as I can. And I'm sorry, bro. I feel bad because I never make it onto Lefty's fucking show. And, you know, it's nothing other than time. You know what I mean? But I will. So I apologize to you, Lefty, because he'll hit me up sometimes and ask me. And I, whatever the case may be, sometimes I just can't do it. So I feel bad about that. And I appreciate him even inviting me. I think you should forget MobTube and move forward serious. Well, here's the thing. MobTube is the brand, so to speak. I'm not going to let it go because somebody else will just hop up or hop on it. What I can do is I can change MobTube. It can remain MobTube and it can be about the mob and true crime. Like, for example, I know a lot of fucking people. A lot of people. So I can do shows with different guys that were in the life that can tell their stories. I don't have to come on and tell mob stories like everyone else. I could do what I've been doing for quite some time. I can bring these guys to you. You know what I mean? I can bring them on this show, and you can hear them tell their stories. Like, look how many people we've had on here, bro. We've had Mike DeBella. We've had Howie Santos now. It's the newest one. Frank Fiordolino, Jimmy Calandra, Bill Catolo Jr., Gene Borello. I'm sure there's more that I'm forgetting, but a lot of fucking people. You know what I'm saying? So it can still be about the mob, but it doesn't have to be about this beef with these content creators. You know what I'm saying? Because who cares about them anymore? Listen, these are guys with nothing, with no one. You know, they're miserable, they're bored. They need this. They're going to be doing it forever. This is what they get off on, is fighting with people. That's what they get off on. So I don't need this shit. You know what I mean? I like doing things like raising money for charity, like helping people with addiction and recovery, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Telling you guys stories you may not have heard before, having other people tell you stories you may not have heard before. Yeah, Miss can't be wrong. It really isn't. Thank you. It really isn't. And listen, there's a lot of guys in this chat right here who lived a much tougher life than I fucking did, and did a lot more things than I did. You know what I mean? But that's how I presented it from the beginning. If you watch my first video, I never said, "Hey, I'm this big bad motherfucker." I said I was a low-level drug dealer. I got a couple of felonies. I'm nobody. I have no mob connections. I was never any gangster. You know, I'm not a killer. None of that shit. But then they have no criminal background, or they've never spent a day in jail. We have no reason to believe they've ever done anything in the street, and they present themselves as gangsters. We get it all the time. You know, Lee Cole. You know what I mean? People like that. MRE is fucking got caught with a bunch of guns and didn't use them, didn't do anything with them, just got caught because he put them on social media. You know, and that's his big case. Most of the people over there, you know. Fat fuck was thinking 7 fishes. That's hilarious. Yorkville Charlie, where this is a rumor that's spreading around only on MobTube. Where have you heard this? Because let me tell you something. I don't know where people got this information. I fucking looked it up. Very extensively. Okay, I went through everything. All you got to do is Google new rules for 2022 YouTube. You're not going to see that. I don't know where this rumor is coming from, that if in 2023, if you attack another content creator, YouTube will dump you. That is nonsense. Half of YouTube would be gone. You kidding me? That's crazy. So you're telling me if Jake Paul attacks fucking Stevie will do it, even though his channel's not up. He's on Nelk Boys, whatever it is. I'm just using an example that they're going to take Jake Paul's channel down. I mean, it's, or even me. What if I attack Lee Cole? They're going to take my channel down. Where is this rumor coming from? Let me see. From Angel Show. Exactly. Yes. Listen, and this is an addiction and recovery show, so I don't want to go too deep into this. Angel is on a mad tear to try to silence me. So they do these things constantly, all the time. Lee Cole, for example, look. Oh, I'm talking to YouTube. Oh, I talked to YouTube security. Oh, YouTube's about to step in. You know, when that doesn't work, oh, we're suing you. Oh, and when they don't bring an actual lawsuit, well, we sent you a cease and desist letter. And when that doesn't work, oh, we'll just have you removed from YouTube. You know how many times Angel said she was taking my channel down? They put this bullshit out there so, you know, people like me will believe it. But people like me are not dolts. I fucking don't just take somebody's word for it, especially one of them. So I look it up, and you guys can research it. There are no new rules in 2023 stating that you won't be able to, attack content creators, that the harassment and bullying policy is going to get any more strict. You know what I mean? Like they're tightening up on things. It's just not true. I researched it thoroughly, and it's not true. This is commonplace for YouTube. It happens in every community. I found a true crime guy the other day. I won't even say his name because he sucks. But I watched a lot of his videos, and he does nothing but play like Nancy Grace videos and then comment every now and then. He doesn't talk shit about anyone. He doesn't talk shit about other content creators. And when I looked up his name, because somebody suggested him to me, there had to be 50 different channels calling him a pedophile and everything else. And the guy doesn't seem to bother anyone. This is what happens. The problem is certain people who feel entitled and think they're special feel as though if you talk bad about them, they will do away with you because God forbid you talk bad about them. Now, while they're doing that, they'll be talking bad about you, and that's perfectly fine. But these are, if you hear something like that, especially from Angel's side, just Google it. It's not true. It's not true. Half the YouTubers would be in a mad fucking rush for the next 2 weeks trying to fucking remove all their videos. You know what I mean? Like, it's not happening. Let me read some comments. I'm going to go way back. Oh, I didn't know that. I don't pay attention. I didn't know that. I don't know what this means, Harvester. What's not going to work? This is FBS Tube. It has been Mob Tube for a long time now. Oh, what? The true crime mob? Yeah. Bro, Harvester, let me ask you something. How many subscribers do you have on YouTube? Just out of curiosity. How much money do you make on YouTube per month? Okay, then shut the fuck up. Because you don't know what's going to work and what's not going to work. You can't tell me. You can't tell me, bro. There's so many good true crime shows on all the streamers, endless content there, plus the subs can enjoy watching a doc and then discussing it. I hope it comes together. Yeah, me too. We'll see how it goes. There's a lot of energy and anger, and for some, they will go to any lengths to do anything for the energy. But soon all that anger will consume you, and in the end, guess what? You're alone. That's right. That's right. FBS Chris, you are right, and you can prove these knuckleheads wrong. Have a really good show without drama, but they can't. I think so too, Chad. I hope so. Thank you. People said the same shit last year. Yeah. Plus, they would be giving up all that revenue. Yeah, right. Yeah, of course. It's stupid. It's nonsense. It's coming from the two dumbest people on YouTube. Consider the source. Yeah, I know. I should. I forgot to check if anybody answered if Angel really said that about having my channel taken down. Because if so, she has a problem. 50% of YouTube would evaporate. Yep. It's disinformation, all bull. YT isn't dumping anyone for content creator. Killed Bitsing. I don't know what that is, Don. Yeah, Ishmael's gray area. Very true. Angel and Lee both been spreading this bug rule change rumors, or this big rule change rumor. Well, listen. Again, this is a lack of self-awareness. These are two attack channels, Angel and Lee. That's all they are, is attack channels. So what do they think? They would be exempt? That's Angel. Angel thinks she's exempt. Like, I could say whatever I want about him, but he talked bad about me and my daughter. I'm going to get his channel taken down. Yeah, sure you are. No, they won't silence me. No, listen, I have a whole podcast set up and ready to go. All I have to do is start recording. And I'm on a podcast, guys, and you can listen to me, and I hope you do. Every fucking day for free. You won't see me, but you'll hear me. So I'm all ready. FBS, I'm glad you had a good show yesterday. It's well deserved. You and Shanna have been dealing with all these trash cans. Thank you, bro. Yeah, I agree. Yesterday was a great show. Yeah, you ain't kidding, Joseph. Lee said if all else fails, they will get the UN to stop you using the peace, or I'm sorry, the treaty powers that Angel has. Stop you using the treaty powers. Well, I think she thinks she has some. I believe they're completely above criticism. Apparently. Oh, the mob tube shit will evaporate. Yeah, they've been saying that for 18 months. It won't. Sandra, salute to you. Don Berlin, and you got to remember true crime is not about the story. It's about the storyteller. That is what people tune in for. I agree. And there's nobody out there doing true crime who's like me. You know what I mean? Because, they tell the story nice and neat and organized, and they tell you the facts. No, you need somebody to fucking give his opinions. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to hear Casey Anthony's story again. We just want to hear somebody tear this lousy bitch to shreds, and I'm the guy to do it. Yeah, I think that's her next plan, Mob Entertainment Group, in her head. Oh, exactly, Mikhail 1. If there was actually new rules. Mikhail 1, there's no talent on SlabTube. FBS can do addiction and recovery, interviews, true crime interviews, and whatnot. Gunsmoke is a genius with his editing and doing people's voices. Very true. He is. Lee tried to say he has emails from YouTube about the change. Yeah, okay. Yeah, Lee, forward them to me, bro. I get the same emails from YouTube every other content creator does. And no, not true. I think they did try to say that last year, didn't they? All right, guys, we veered off addiction and recovery, and I got to get going. Danny Trio, Miss Can't Be Wrong. I got to get going. That's my answer. Thank you for everything, guys. Listen, stay strong. Stay on the road to recovery. Please, if you are currently struggling and you need help, reach out to either right here, the National Addiction Hotline. Reach out to whatever the equivalent of crisis intervention is in your state. Try to get yourself in a facility ASAP so you can get some time away, because sometimes that's the best medicine. And if you ever need me for anything and I can help, let me know. All right, but write down these numbers. Don't forget. Write them down. Put them in your wallet, purse, fanny pack, man bag, whatever the hell it is you carry. If you're a kangaroo, put them in your pouch. You know what I mean? And hang on to them in case you ever need them, God forbid. National Addiction Hotline, Suicide and Crisis Lifeline 988. That one you could probably just remember. All right, guys, thank you for everything. I love you all. Don't forget Lefty at 6:30. And until next time, salute.